Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Burt Lancaster, the athlete-turned-actor who became a Hollywood legend. Burt Lancaster stands among the most compelling figures of Hollywood's golden age, a performer whose commanding presence, athletic physique, and emotional depth made him an enduring icon. From his early years as an acrobat to his transformation into one of cinema's most respected actors and producers, Lancaster carved out a singular legacy built on versatility, integrity, and fearless artistic ambition. Early life and circus roots. Born on November 2, 1913, in New York City, Burton Stephen Lancaster grew up in a working-class family in East Harlem. Though he showed an early interest in performance, his first calling was not the stage but the circus. Along with his childhood friend Nick Cravat, Lancaster trained in acrobatics and became part of a successful trapeze act known as Lang and Cravat. Their high-flying partnership laid the foundation for Lancaster's signature athletic style and dynamic screen presence. His circus career was cut short by injury, and his life took another turn when he served in the U.S. Army during World War II. After the war, a chance encounter with a theatrical producer led Lancaster toward acting, a career path he had never previously considered. Breakthrough and rise to stardom. Lancaster's film debut came in The Killers, 1946, a noir classic that instantly established him as a major new talent. His striking combination of physical strength and emotional vulnerability drew audiences in, and Hollywood quickly recognized his star potential. In the years that followed, Lancaster delivered standout performances across a wide range of genres, from Here to Eternity, 1953, in which he played the passionate Sergeant Warden, earned him widespread acclaim and remains one of cinema's most iconic roles. Elmer Gantry, 1960, showcased his ability to portray morally complex characters, earning him the Academy Award for Best Actor. Sweet Smell of Success, 1957, featured one of his most chilling performances as a ruthless newspaper columnist. Lancaster was never content to be typecast. He deliberately sought out challenging roles that defied expectation. A pioneering producer beyond acting, Lancaster was a savvy businessman and a champion of artistic independence. With his partners, he co-founded Hecht Hill Lancaster, one of the first major star-owned production companies. This gave him the freedom to pursue ambitious projects, support emerging filmmakers, and promote films with strong social themes. The company produced acclaimed works like Marty, 1955, which won the Academy Award for Best Picture. Later career and reinvention. Lancaster's career longevity was remarkable. As he aged, he embraced roles that emphasized depth over physicality, delivering memorable performances in Birdman of Alcatraz, 1962, The Leopard, 1963, directed by Luchino Visconti, Atlantic City, 1980, which earned him another Oscar nomination. His ability to continually reinvent himself kept him relevant for nearly 5 decades. Persona and legacy. Burt Lancaster's screen persona was a blend of rugged masculinity and intense emotionality. Off-screen, he was known for his intelligence, political engagement, and commitment to human rights causes. He used his influence to support progressive movements, advocate for civil liberties, and challenge industry norms. Lancaster died on October 20, 1994. But his legacy endures. He remains a symbol of Hollywood at its finest, bold, inventive, and unafraid to break barriers. His films continue to inspire both audiences and modern actors who look to his career as a model of artistic courage and reinvention. Further exploration of Burt Lancaster's career and influence. Master of transformation. Acting style and technique. One of the defining traits of Burt Lancaster's acting career was his remarkable versatility. He excelled in roles that demanded physical strength, emotional nuance, or intellectual complexity, sometimes all at once. Trained as an acrobat, he brought an innate sense of movement and balance to his performances, often performing his own stunts in his early films. This athletic confidence made his action roles believable and his dramatic scenes visually striking. Lancaster's acting technique evolved significantly over the decades. In the 1940s and early 1950s, he often portrayed tough, brooding anti-heroes in film noir and adventure dramas. By the mid-1950s, he expanded into emotionally layered characters, revealing a depth that critics had not initially expected from a former circus performer. In his later years, Lancaster's performances became more introspective, relying less on physicality and more on subtle expression and vocal control. His ability to adapt ensured that he remained one of Hollywood's most respected performers well into the 1980s. Partnership with Nick Cravat. Long before Hollywood, Lancaster's life was intertwined with that of his childhood friend and circus partner Nick Cravat. Their acrobatic duo, celebrated for its daring stunts and impeccable timing, shaped Lancaster's approach to performance and influenced his early film roles. Cravat appeared alongside Lancaster in several movies, including The Flame and the Arrow, 1950, and The Crimson Pirate, 1952, films that showcased their playful chemistry and dynamic stunt work. Cravat often played mute characters to mask his thick Brooklyn accent, adding a memorable comic dimension to their collaborations. Hecht Hill Lancaster, a visionary production venture. When Burt Lancaster helped establish Hecht Hill Lancaster, he became part of a movement toward greater creative autonomy for actors. At a time when studios tightly controlled all aspects of production, his company dared to back unconventional projects. Some highlights include Marty, 1955, a small, character-driven drama that became an unexpected hit and won 4 Academy Awards. Separate Tables, 1958, a poignant ensemble drama that earned multiple Oscar nominations. Run Silent, Run Deep, 1958, a tense naval thriller demonstrating the company's range. Lancaster wasn't just lending his name, he was deeply involved in script selection, casting, and artistic direction. His willingness to support difficult or risky material contributed to shifts that later allowed actors like Warren Beatty and Clint Eastwood to become powerful producers. International work and artistic exploration. Lancaster's global influence was cemented by his collaborations with European filmmakers. His work in Italian cinema, particularly with director Luchino Visconti, expanded his reputation as an actor who embraced challenging, art-house roles. The Leopard, 1963, stands as one of his greatest achievements. Playing the aging Sicilian prince Don Fabrizio, Lancaster delivered a restrained and tragic performance that earned him immense respect in Europe. Though initially dubbed into Italian, his portrayal remains one of his most acclaimed. His willingness to work outside the Hollywood system demonstrated artistic courage and broadened the scope of American acting internationally. Notable later roles. Even as he entered his 60s and 70s, Lancaster continued to deliver performances marked by power and subtlety. In Atlantic City, 1980, he portrayed an aging, small-time gangster dreaming of a final comeback. His performance was tender, humorous, and deeply human, earning him an Academy Award nomination. Local Hero, 1983, showed his lighter side in a whimsical Scottish comedy. In Field of Dreams, 1989, Lancaster played Moonlight Graham, a small but unforgettable role filled with wisdom and heart. These later performances solidified Lancaster as not just a Hollywood star but one of the most gifted character actors of his generation. Personal life and public image off-screen, Lancaster was known for his discipline, intelligence, and commitment to social issues. He often spoke out on civil rights, nuclear disarmament, and other humanitarian causes. He participated in marches, engaged in political debates, and lent his voice to movements that challenged inequality. While intensely private about aspects of his personal life, Lancaster was widely respected by colleagues for his dedication to craft and his outspoken moral convictions. Enduring legacy. Burt Lancaster's legacy extends far beyond the characters he portrayed. He helped redefine what it meant to be a movie star, proving that an actor could be an entertainer, an activist, a business innovator, and a dramatic artist all at once. His contributions helped pave the way for modern performers who seek both creative freedom and social impact. Today his films remain staples of classic cinema, studied for their artistry and celebrated for their boldness. A deeper look at Burt Lancaster's Hollywood evolution, the early studio years and rise of the star image when Lancaster entered Hollywood in the mid-1940s. The studio system was still in full force. Actors were typically molded, packaged, and typecast according to the studio's commercial conventions. But Lancaster quickly resisted being shaped into a one-note persona. Though his early films such as Brute Force, 1947, and I Walk Alone, 1947, embraced the rugged, intense qualities that made him a natural fit for crime dramas and adventure pictures, he soon demonstrated ambitions that extended far beyond the confines of these genres. Producers and directors noticed his unusual blend of intelligence, physical prowess, and emotional range, making him one of the most sought-after leading men by the late 1940s. Yet Lancaster always viewed the studio system as too restrictive, and this desire for independence drove him to become one of the earliest major stars to take control of his career through producing iconic films and their cultural resonance. From Here to Eternity, 1953, a turning point. This film marked a major milestone not only in Lancaster's career but also in Hollywood history. The iconic beach scene with Deborah Kerr became one of cinema's most enduring images, symbolizing passion, rebellion, and the shifting moral boundaries of post-war America. The film's success solidified Lancaster as a sophisticated dramatic actor capable of shaping cultural moments. Elmer Gantry, 1960. A performance of ferocity playing the charismatic conman preacher Elmer Gantry, Lancaster delivered what many critics consider the boldest performance of his career. His portrayal captured the complexity of American evangelism, its showmanship, contradictions, and seductive power. The role earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor and remains a benchmark for actors playing morally conflicted characters. Sweet Smell of Success, 1957, The Power of Persona as J.J. Hunsaker. A manipulative and venomous newspaper columnist, Lancaster took a major risk. The role was darker than anything he had done before, sharp, icy, nearly cruel in its precision. Today the film is considered a masterpiece of noir, and Lancaster's chilling performance stands as one of the most daring choices any major star made in the 1950s. Expanding horizons. Collaborating with international masters, Lancaster's openness to foreign cinema made him a rare American star who succeeded both in Hollywood and on the international stage. Luchino Visconti and The Leopard, working with the Italian maestro Visconti, was a transformative experience. The role of Prince Don Fabrizio, an aristocrat observing the slow decline of his class, is complex, tragic, and deeply reflective. Lancaster infused the character with dignity and melancholy, highlighting themes of change, mortality, and societal evolution. European critics praised him as a revelation, and the film is now regarded as one of the greatest in world cinema. Other international collaborations. Lancaster also worked with renowned French and British filmmakers, embracing characters that Hollywood might never have offered him. These roles demonstrated his willingness to put artistic challenge above box office safety. Lancaster as a producer. Courage behind the camera under Hill Lancaster. He backed films that explored themes of working-class struggles, psychological realism, and human vulnerability, an unusual move during an era dominated by glamorous star vehicles and predictable narratives. Championing social issues on-screen, Lancaster supported films that confronted prejudice and discrimination, class inequality, war, trauma, and moral ambiguity, the everyday struggles of ordinary people. He didn't simply star in these films, he helped bring them to life, influencing their tone, direction, and themes. Political and social activism. Burt Lancaster believed strongly in using his visibility for the public good. Throughout his life, he supported civil rights movements in the U.S., anti-nuclear proliferation efforts during the Cold War, abolition of the death penalty, humanitarian causes around the world. He participated in marches, pressure campaigns, and public speeches, often at times when many actors avoided political involvement. Lancaster's activism was consistent, principled, and grounded in a deep belief in social justice. Private life and personality. Lancaster maintained a careful separation between his public and private worlds, yet a few qualities consistently emerged in accounts from colleagues. 1. Discipline and professionalism. He approached every role with seriousness, often training rigorously even late in life. 2. Intensity and passion. Directors described him as fiercely committed, willing to push boundaries and challenge creative norms. 3. Intellectual curiosity. Lancaster was an avid reader, fascinated by politics, literature, and philosophy. He saw acting as an extension of a lifelong pursuit of learning. 4. Loyalty. His enduring friendships, particularly with Nick Cravat, revealed a deep sense of commitment and gratitude to those who shaped his early life. Final years and lasting impact. Toward the end of his life, Lancaster slowed his workload due to health issues. But his final roles, especially in Field of Dreams, reminded audiences of the gentle wisdom and emotional sensitivity he had developed over decades. Following his passing in 1994, tributes poured in from around the world. Film scholars, critics, and fellow actors hailed him as one of Hollywood's greatest leading men, a pioneer of actor-driven production, a champion of meaningful cinema, a socially engaged artist, a performer who constantly evolved and improved even today. Directors frequently cite Lancaster's breadth as an actor as inspiration for modern performers seeking to reinvent themselves throughout their careers. Burt Lancaster. A fuller portrait of a Hollywood titan, a star in constant reinvention. Unlike many leading men of Hollywood's golden age, Burt Lancaster refused to be fixed in a single mold. His career unfolded across distinct eras, each marked by a reinvention of style, genre, and artistic purpose. The physical performer, late 1940s, early 1950s, Lancaster's early stardom rested on his athletic bravado. Films such as The Flame and the Arrow and The Crimson Pirate highlighted his acrobatic roots. These movies, buoyant, adventurous, almost swashbuckling, gave audiences something unique, a hero who looked as though he could leap off the screen. The dramatic powerhouse, mid-1950s to 1960s, with From Here to Eternity, Lancaster showed he could balance star charisma with emotional depth. This period produced his richest dramatic performances. Complex, flawed, often intense. The mature character actor, 1970s to 1990s. As he aged, Lancaster embraced roles that allowed him to explore vulnerability, nostalgia, regret, and wisdom. Films like Atlantic City and Field of Dreams demonstrated an actor unafraid of nuance or gentleness. His evolution mirrors the shifting language of American cinema itself. Relationships with directors and co-stars. Working with visionary directors, Lancaster's best performances often emerged through collaborations with demanding filmmakers. Fred Zinnemann, who directed From Here to Eternity, admired Lancaster's ability to convey emotional conflict without sacrificing strength. Luchino Visconti saw him as a Shakespearean figure, ideally suited for roles of aristocratic dignity and tragic grandeur. John Frankenheimer, with whom Lancaster collaborated several times, The Train, 7 Days in May, valued his intelligence and political sensibility. Louis Malle, director of Atlantic City, helped reveal Lancaster's late career gentleness. These partnerships are part of what made Lancaster such an adaptable and enduring actor. He sought out directors who challenged him intellectually and artistically. Dynamic screen presence with co-stars. Lancaster had a talent for elevating the performers around him. His pairing with Deborah Kerr, From Here to Eternity, created one of the most iconic romantic moments in film history. Tony Curtis, Trapeze, Sweet Smell of Success, generated tension and magnetic contrast. Kirk Douglas, his frequent collaborator and friendly rival, produced unforgettable on-screen chemistry in films such as Gunfight at the OK Corral. He understood ensemble dynamics and often used his star power to strengthen the impact of the entire cast. Behind the scenes, Lancaster the perfectionist. Burt Lancaster was famously intense behind the camera. Colleagues described him as meticulous in preparation, exacting in standards, fearless in confronting producers, and deeply involved in editing, pacing, and structure. These traits stemmed from his circus background, where discipline meant survival. He brought that ethic into every film set, earning both admiration and, occasionally, intimidation. Yet even his fiercest critics acknowledged that Lancaster raised the artistic level of the productions he touched. Personal convictions and public courage. Civil rights advocacy. Lancaster was ahead of his time in supporting racial equality. He marched with civil rights leaders, publicly criticized discriminatory policies, and worked with filmmakers of color at a time when Hollywood rarely provided equal opportunity. Anti-war and anti-nuclear stances. Lancaster spoke out against nuclear weapons and advocated for global peace. His political involvement often put him at odds with studios, government agencies, and conservative factions, but he remained steadfast, champion of creativity and free expression. He supported independent filmmakers, writers blacklisted during the McCarthy era, and artistic voices that pushed against the status quo. Lancaster believed cinema should reflect the truth of society, not merely its fantasies. A man of contradictions. Like many complex artists, Lancaster contained multitudes. Physically imposing yet emotionally sensitive, politically outspoken yet personally private, commercially successful yet artistically daring, capable of intensity yet known for warmth with friends. These contradictions contributed to his depth on screen. His characters often carried a sense of inner conflict that felt profoundly human. Influence on future generations of actors. Lancaster's career set a precedent for modern stars who desire creative autonomy. His producing ventures foreshadowed the rise of actor-producers like Clint Eastwood, Warren Beatty, Robert Redford, George Clooney, Brad Pitt. His fearlessness in role selection influenced actors who embrace risk and complexity, such as Daniel Day-Lewis, Denzel Washington, and Joaquin Phoenix. Lancaster demonstrated that a movie star could also be a scholar, an activist, an international artist, and a creative trailblazer. Legacy in film history today. Lancaster's legacy is visible in multiple dimensions. his films remain central to film studies. His performances are used as reference points for exploring masculinity, vulnerability, and moral conflict in American cinema. His activism influences discussions about the role of artists in public life. His production work paved the way for a more creatively liberated Hollywood. He is remembered not only as a Hollywood legend but as a figure who reshaped the possibilities of what an American actor could be. Burt Lancaster. Expanding the legacy of an American original, the philosophy behind the performer behind every role Lancaster took on, no matter the genre, was a deeply held belief that acting should illuminate the human condition. He approached his craft with an almost academic rigor, often studying psychology, literature, politics, and philosophy to understand the inner motivations of his characters. Lancaster believed that a performer must first understand why people behave the way they do before they can convincingly portray them on screen. This cerebral approach distinguished him from many contemporaries who relied more on natural charisma or studio-guided personas. He often said that acting was an exploration, not an exhibition. This mindset pushed him toward roles that challenged moral boundaries, psychological depth, and emotional truth. Lancaster's place in the Hollywood landscape, a bridge between old and new Hollywood. Lancaster occupied a rare position. He began as a traditional Hollywood leading man, handsome, strong, physically gifted, but gradually became one of the first major actors to embody the sensibilities of New Hollywood. Old Hollywood valued glamour, image control, and star mystique. New Hollywood embraced realism, character complexity, and artistic freedom. Lancaster mastered both worlds. His athletic charisma fit perfectly within classic studio pictures. His intellectual curiosity and willingness to take risks aligned with the auteur-driven movement of the 1960s and 1970s. This duality is a key reason he remains relevant in film scholarship today. Confronting controversial roles and themes, Burt Lancaster was never afraid to take on roles that explored uncomfortable truths. Throughout his career, he tackled subjects that were bold for their time. Political corruption, 7 Days in May, capital punishment, Birdman of Alcatraz, media manipulation, Sweet Smell of Success, religious hypocrisy, Elmer Gantry, social inequality, Marty. Via producing, these choices positioned Lancaster not only as an entertainer but as a social commentator. His films often reflected or challenged the moral anxieties of mid-20th century America. The later years, a study in grace and gravitas. Lancaster's later performances added a new dimension to his persona: wisdom, softness, and poignancy. Atlantic City, 1980. This role remains one of his finest achievements. As the aging, wistful Lou, Lancaster balanced regret with hope.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.